Well, hello White Sox fans. How you guys doing tonight? Hope you guys are doing great. You got treated to another gem from Michael Kopech today. My name is Ian Eskridge. I am here with my co-host, the Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
Not too shabby, man. You know, enjoying some fairly decent White Sox baseball here lately. Uh, but outside of that, as you already know, I've had an event filled past few days, or not actually. I've been spending a lot of time at home. Uh, apparently I had a minor bowel obstruction.
Yeesh.
But yeah, nothing that they were overly concerned about at the time. But I did have quite a bit of abdominal pain and some constipation and other things. I haven't been quite myself, still not. So great way to start a stream, though, huh? To talk about Danny's bathroom issues. But yeah, man, I'm doing a little bit better. I'm still not 100%. Spend some time with the docs. You want to talk about people freaking you out, though, man? You gonna win with abdominal thing that you think. I thought for the whole time it was pretty much gas and maybe constipation, and turns out it was pretty close to that. But yeah, when you walk in and they start checking you for aortic dissection and aortic perforation, you're going, wait a minute, I thought I was having problems using the toilet, or something else. I wasn't expecting them to immediately go to aortic dissection.
I wouldn't think
Thanks for
so.
freaking me out a little bit there, but yeah, apparently it's just one of those things that they look at when you have these issues. So yeah, man, got to be a pincushion for a little bit yesterday, and have been just trying to recover here. So hopefully, it seems like I'm on the mend. But enough about my bowel movements or lack thereof. Uh, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. It's been a really hectic week. Lots of baseball. Had tournament over the weekend. Had a game yesterday. Got another tournament coming up this weekend. So, I mean, it's just all over the place, just a lot of running around and, whatever. I mean, it's standard stuff, I guess, but it's not any aortic whatever.
Dissections, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
dissections. It's none of that. So I'm happy
Well,
about
that's a good
that.
thing.
Yeah.
I would not wish what I've been going through the last 3 or 4 days here on my worst enemies. I'll just say that.
Can't imagine. Yeah, it sounds pretty terrible. Yeah. So it's been a nice, since we last streamed, it's been a nice little run here. We had 2 out of 3 from the Guardians twice, and swept the with the royal flush, and you know uh it's been nice because you've been getting a lot of pitching, and
A lot of pitching.
yeah, and for the most part, uh pretty fundamentally sound baseball, which is something that we're not used to. Um, and I mean, like some strange stuff that, if you had told me at the beginning of the year that Clint Frazier would be playing center field for the White Sox, I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
couldn't be too shocked because he's a retread and he's failed in several other places. Um, which seems to be a fairly common thing for the White Sox. I mean, we had Jake Marisnick up as well, but it's kind of surprising. Luis Robert has a rectus, what is it? Rectus something, some quadricep muscle. From dipping down weird to grab a baseball, and so he's out. So now you got Clint Frazier coming in, and he's played pretty well. They put him in right field today, and he made a really nice play and nailed Jimenez at second base. He's trying to, do something that you could have done to the 2022 White Sox, which is take an extra base when somebody's sleeping, you know, and he nipped that in the bud and threw him out at second base, and it was a nice moment, where I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, fundamentally sound baseball where they're not letting the other team take extra bases. It was I was pretty happy about it.
Well, again, here's a player. I hate to do this, but I don't want to dump on Tony too much anymore. He's long gone, and we have Pedro now. But I just want to say that Clint had not been tainted by the organization in the last season or two, and their ineptitude and or lack of motivation at times to stop those things from happening. The fundamentals were not necessarily there, and we had a lot of guys who were kind of going through the motions under Tony's tutelage. So,
Tony's tutelage.
uh, you know, yeah, again, he's gone. I don't want to put too much into it, but it sure seems like the last couple of seasons we might not have seen that uh type of play where guys were getting up ready to gun immediately. There were some lackadaisical throws or missed cutoff men, and to see fundamentals being used the way they should be is kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And he speaking of Clint Frazier, he come up and he's been taking walks, and you got a hit today. It's just nice to see somebody come up and um, not have to wait for them to chip in. It's like we've gotten so used to guys coming up and not getting anything out of them for a week or two. At you know Not with everybody, but I mean it's been we've seen that a lot over the last couple of years. And I mean, Adam Hazley, he came up and he had a pretty decent game right away as well. When he came up the first, at first, and yeah, it's a positive development. And the thing is that you can see it in the White Sox. You can see it in their attitudes. You can see it in their body language, and I mean, we heard them talking from the get, about that they were going to come out and play hard and they were going to do fundamental things and whatever. You heard that from the beginning, but we didn't see it, and
Right.
now you're starting to see it, and it's a wonderful positive development that I was not expecting after the first month of the season that we saw, and they're going on a decent run, and I mean the division, because it's so terrible, hasn't gotten out of reach. Now I don't know, we had this conversation earlier today that you know we could look up in a week and they could be exactly where they started. It's entirely possible. They could fall flat back on their face, and we could be looking at the same thing over again. But over the last week and a half, it's looked like actual baseball.
Right. You got to take these opportunities as a Sox fan to go ahead and enjoy some good baseball because again, I hate to go down this road, but we've been a little jaded to these, especially the last 2 3 seasons, because of what we've been sold as being a competitive contending type team. But we haven't seen a long stretch of baseball that like the one we're seeing being played right now. And there's still the people out there that are gonna say, "Oh, they're bum slaying," and the Central Division is terrible. I don't really care about any of that right now. All I care is that the White Sox are winning baseball games. They're winning them at a good clip, as opposed to how April started out. And they're just fun to watch right now. So enjoy that moment before it does fall apart. Not saying that it will, but this team is one of those teams that showed us that they can be bad. Maybe they'll get used to this winning streak type of baseball. They'll get used to feeling confident and feeling like they can go out and beat anybody any given day. And take that momentum and run with it. But right now, I'm just here to watch what they're doing, and I'm totally invested in it again. Uh, I don't want to be the guy that's waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, no, and like that was the thing, from the very beginning of this season, both you and I were trying to be optimistic about this whole thing, and we're so used to being negative on here because there's been, for a year and a half now, we've been able to point at things specifically that we're like, this is not right, and this is not going well, and this is actually, it seems like it's a step in a positive direction for like the first time in ever. Like I just feel like, you know, it's I mean, since like I don't know, Memorial Day of 21 or like the All-Star break of 21 that we've been
That's
talking about.
probably where I would put it.
I
Right,
mean,
right at the All Star break
jeez.
at 21, where everything, the wheels just kind of fell off the rebuild pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to actually talk about baseball and be positive, over an entire week and a half span. That, it's not just, oh, we won last night. Great. Like we've got three
Right.
series in a row. I mean, granted, we're talking about the Guardians and the Royals. So it's entirely possible that they go to Detroit and split or lose 3 out of 4. I mean, it's entirely possible. Um, but we just hope for continued positive forward movement here. Um, I know that there's a lot of guys on the Tigers that are struggling, and they're not hitting a whole lot of home runs, and their pitching's not entirely like it's not really all that good. And they're in second place in the division, 2.5 games behind first. I think when I looked earlier today, I haven't looked since then. But I mean, there's no reason the Sox can't go in there and take 3 out of 4. And if you just continue to win
I
series,
agree.
you keep on, you compound all of these one series. Eventually you're going to catch up to the division because I don't think that the Twins are going to take off. And on that front, it was just announced that Carlos Correa is out with plantar fasciitis and strained muscles in
Hmm.
his foot. Now, I wonder, if that has some, it's a byproduct of his medical report that stopped him from getting signed.
The ankle.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because you compensate, like your body, and I know this well because I've had so many back issues, that you compensate, your body automatically compensates for, you know, other injuries that you have, and it causes problems elsewhere. And I would 100% not be surprised if this was, a byproduct of that ankle.
Yeah. Very possible. You would think that something was going to pop up at some time. The way he was denied not one but two contracts before re-signing with his current team. But
It's insane.
you know, I don't even want. I don't even want to throw it out there. I don't want to talk about those guys. But you know, uh, somebody knew something was there. Obviously, he had two pretty big contracts get tossed out the window over medicals, and now we're seeing some foot issues. So yeah, I'm with you. I wonder if that's what's causing it. It could be completely unrelated. We don't know, but sure seems kind of funny, doesn't it? How
I
that
mean,
works
yeah,
out.
yeah, it seems weird. And like you know, the White Sox have had like a weak run here for a couple of weeks now of opponents, and obviously that's aided them in getting trying to get their head back above water. But the Twins are starting a tough run here. Their next couple of series, they've got 3 against the Blue Jays, and then they've got 3 against the Astros, who I don't know if you noticed or not, but they just rattled off 10 of 11 um, before
I
yesterday, I
did
think.
notice.
Um, and then they go to the
Yeah.
they go. What's that?
I just said yeah. No, sorry, I was clearing my throat there. I used my mute button.
All good. And then they go to the Guardians, and then they go back to the Rays and the Blue Jays again. So they've got a tough, you know, 2.5 weeks coming up here. And, not that I mean, the White Sox are, going to Detroit and then they play the Angels. Um, and I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm just going to look here right quick who they've got after the Angels. Then they're back to the Tigers, and then they got a day off, and then they go to Yankees. So the ending of that same time period is a little bit difficult. Hitting up the Yankees in the Bronx, um, which their record's not stellar, but they also play in the AL East, which is a fairly difficult division. So obviously their record's going to be skewed a little bit just to adjust for that. But with the way that the schedule is this year, and with everybody playing everybody, um, it's not possibly heavily as skewed. I haven't looked. I haven't looked at their schedule to see how much of their AL East schedule is done. That's something that I probably will look at here in the next couple of days. Um, just to try and figure out, I mean, we've seen the Yankees, they hit bombs, and um, their pitching hasn't been exactly great so far this year. They've gotten some decent pitching, but they got Carlos Rodon sitting on the IL still, and nobody quite knows exactly what's going on with him, which is unfortunate, but it is what that is. Um, yeah, so then we have to, obviously they have to pay attention to what's in front of them, which is the Tigers. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. One step at a time here. I think I don't know. Like I said, I think they're just finding a new level of confidence. And if they've got to play some bad teams to get that confidence going, it couldn't have come at a better time. And you start to enjoy as a player, in my past experience, you start to enjoy winning, and it becomes contagious. It really does. People that say, it's neither here nor there, I would have to argue against that because that kind of feeling of just knowing, in your heart of hearts, when you go out on the field, you can beat anybody. That confidence is going to help them kind of overcome whatever obstacles that they've been, or anything that's been holding them back. They're going to be able to overcome that. Health overall is going to be a big factor. We've talked about that, ad nauseum here. But like you said, the main thing is they've got to focus on what's in front of them, you know, and if they can, it's funny. You and I had this talk in a chat recently, and our very own Logan Hard was saying that wouldn't it be nice if they could go from you know so many games back, coming off a 10-game losing streak, to possibly moving up into second place, in roughly a week's time period, a little over a week's time period, 2 weeks time period. Uh, that's something, man. I mean, they had a bad April. May has looked a whole heck of a lot better, and I think I think that this is the kind of thing that they can overcome and continue. And they probably, if they continue to pitch the way they've been pitching. I mean, we've seen two outstanding starts back to back from Michael Kopech, going, perfect and no hitter into the later innings of a game, back to back here. That's pretty fantastic stuff. And the rest of the staff has been, on top of their game more than they had been early in the season as well too. The bullpen seems to be figuring some things out.
Mm-hmm.
The bats have been, you know, like you said earlier in the stream, it's not necessarily, they're not perfect. We can talk about Tim Anderson having his struggles, and some of the other guys that we thought. Benintendi's has no power that we were kind of hoping for, and
Zero
you
home
know
runs still.
Andrew Vaughn. Oh, Andrew Vaughn's not. He's not Jose Abreu. Well, we knew that. We knew he wasn't Jose Abreu. But
He's not 30 home run Jose Abreu. He might
no,
be, last year's Jose Abreu, where he's a doubles guy and a lot of not a lot of RBIs last year, but the year before, a lot of RBIs, lots of doubles. He
He's
have it.
driving in some runs this year.
Yeah, no,
He
yeah, for
leads,
sure.
if I'm not mistaken, he does lead the team in runs batted in. I'm not upset with that. Do
Nope.
they do all the RBIs have to come in, or half his RBIs have to come in? Under the notion of a home run? I don't think so. The main thing is the runs are scoring. I
Yeah,
don't care if it's 30 doubles that get you, 60 of those RBIs at the end of the season, as opposed to, 30 home runs that are going to get you 60 RBIs at the end of the season. Because honestly, if you look at Jose Abreu's numbers over the last, not just last year, but a few years, a lot of his homers were solo shots. If you take, even if a,
if
a
nobody's on
third,
base, you can't drive them in. I know it's shocking
right?
development.
It does, yeah. So honestly, I don't really care if we've got anybody in the team that's going to hit 35 home runs. If we've got 4 or 5 guys that are going to hit 20, 25, and maybe one guy that hits 30 that's, doesn't necessarily play first base, a la Luis Robert, or, if Eloy comes back and starts hitting monster shots like we know he can do, if one of those guys picks up with 30 plus home runs, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? I would just rather see these guys have over 100 WRC pluses. I would rather, I would like to see a team full of guys who are better than league average in most offensive categories, because we haven't seen that in a long time. We can't dump on 1 or 2 guys when the rest of the team is producing better than it has been in other positions. So, I don't really care how the runs come. Let's just make sure they continue to come.
Yeah. I just thank Grimtall for the resub. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I don't remember. Let's
Shocker.
see, 22 months. Yeesh.
Yeah, that's a shocker.
Yeah, almost 2 years at this point. Crazy. Grimtall says TA to the Twins. No, don't think that's going to happen. Ladder Enjoyer wants him banned. So there's that. Romy the Future at shortstop. I don't know about shortstop, but it's entirely possible that, as we had mentioned in the past numerous times, that I was perfectly fine going with Romy or Lenine at second base. So I wouldn't be shocked if, Elvis gets launched at some point. Um, but his bat has been pretty lackluster so far this year. So I would not be surprised, if he continues to struggle. You see him benched for somebody like Romy, somebody with power, somebody that can still sling the glove around a little bit, has a decent arm. Today, with him at second base, you saw some movement there. Saw him actually able to play the position. I know that Pedro Grifal the other day was mentioning putting Jake Berger at second base, and I don't know how. I don't know. That's a rough one because how second base is not just a position that you can just throw anybody at. It's something that requires
Lots of moving
footwork.
parts, man.
Yeah, I mean it's cut off responsibilities. There's so much stuff going on there that I don't know if he can. I'm not saying that I don't think that he could handle it mentally, but when you get in the heat of the moment, is he going to remember to do some of this stuff as it's a new position for him? I don't know. I can't say until we see him out there, but wait, he's still on the team. Are you talking about Elvis? Yeah, Elvis. Ladder Enjoyer says Elvis and Billy about to be on the Phantom IL Vibe Squad for a while. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if Clint Frazier continues to play like how he's playing, just fundamentally sound baseball, taking walks, playing good defense, which that was one thing that the Yankees hated about Clint Frazier was his defense. They did nothing but complain about his defense. The Cubs didn't like his defense either, and I'm kind of wondering if his last 8 months, 9 months in Major League Baseball have changed his attitude a little bit, that he's more in tune with the idea of working hard and getting better at playing baseball.
I mean, I don't know about you, but people kind of dumping on you can be a very good motivator. You can. There are people out there that end up with that mentality of, well, you don't like what I do, I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you who I really am. I hope that's what's going on with him because if he can continue to do what he's doing, it's going to be hard to send him back down or ship him off.
100%. And it could be one of those things where, like I'm not saying that I'm not saying anything here other than what I'm saying, I guess, is what.
Not
Uh,
saying, I'm just saying.
so yeah, exactly. So Clint Frazier hit like 7 home runs in 2 weeks in Charlotte. Now I understand that the park factor in Charlotte is whatever it is, but the thing is that the change in his batting stance and the change in his defensive deficiencies. I saw him in Charlotte. I saw him diving for baseballs. I never seen him play defense like how he's playing right now. And Oscar Colas was given a shot, and Oscar Colas has the same physical tools that Clint Frazier has. But what he doesn't have is the experience and getting his teeth kicked in from being bounced around a few organizations with all of these tools and with all this stuff. Oscar Colas still has the attitude of a hotshot, you know. And Clint Frazier, I think at this point, probably has confidence still, but doesn't have the attitude that, hey, I'm too good to listen to somebody else. I still see, I'm watching in Charlotte, and Oscar Colas's numbers are still pretty good, which we knew would happen in Charlotte. But the thing is that he's beating inferior competition. If you watch his
Correct.
at bats, he's still swinging at pitches he shouldn't be swinging at. And that's like one of the main reasons that they sent him down, because when you come up to the major leagues and you get a diet of outside sliders, if you can't hold off of those, you're of no use to anybody. Especially when, he came up to the Sox and, I saw him play defense in the minor leagues and I saw him play a good outfield when he was in the minor leagues. When he came up here, he was making mistakes, and, you know, people seize their opportunities. And is Clint Frazier going to be the guy to do that? Possibly. I don't know, but through the first couple of games, he's looked certainly, definitely serviceable at least. And he hasn't hit a home run.
I'd go beyond that. I'd go beyond serviceable. And again, though, everybody's okay. I'm gonna back this train up a little bit. The home run thing, yeah, they're nice, right? And everybody that's ever watched a baseball game will tell you that the team that hits more home runs is usually the team that's going to win. But you can take that usually out, and I can tell you the team that scores the most runs always wins,
Hmm.
right? It's that simple. I don't care if they're coming by the home run. If they're coming in groups of singles and doubles and the occasional triple in here, like we saw the other day, uh, you know, I'm all for it, man. I don't mind station to station baseball if you don't, like the Sox were that team for the last couple of seasons. There was a lot of that station to station baseball and a lot of guys left on base. Right now, they're actually hitting with guys with men on base. They're not leaving a ton of runners on like they did in April. Does that maybe that ball falls a different way, you know, in a different stretch of games throughout the season, and that's not going to continue to work that way. But right now, they're winning without hitting 3, 4 home runs a game, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. It's
So
it's
if Clint
nice to
Frazier
have a
isn't going to hit, I'm just going to say, the whole reason I brought that up is you said he looks serviceable and hasn't hit a home run yet. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, especially mentioning that he hit 7 in 2 weeks down in Charlotte. I don't I don't have questions about his power. I've seen him do it in the major leagues. The problem has always been strikeouts and his average not being where it's supposed to be. And the thing that he's shown in his limited time with the White Sox is that, with the changes he's made to his stance, he's seeing the ball better and he's striking out less. Now, does that mean that he's going to strike out enough that it's going to get him sent away? I don't know. Who knows? We'll see as time goes on here. But you know, Romy Gonzalez, to me, we've commented on this before that we always thought he had the talent to be able to stick up at the major league level, and to me, it appears that the confidence is there and that he's not pressing as hard. He's not swinging at as many bad pitches. Now he still gets strikeouts and whatever, but he's been hitting the baseball and he's been putting a charge into it when he's hitting it. And you mentioned that triple. I mean, having a guy that can do that kind of thing, especially from second base, where I mean, for the most part, Andrus has been a black hole in the lineup. If Romy can, put up a 250 average over there, play good defense, but do that 250 with some power like he did in 2021 in his, ascendant year in Double A and Triple A, you've got. I mean, you're cooking with grease there. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to better days. We've seen some, and I hope we continue to see a lot more.
Indeed. So tonight, Eloy started his rehab assignment with the Barons. He goes 0 for 3. Um, I mean, he looked like Eloy out there. He actually made a kind of anxiety-inducing play in right field, running towards the wall, and he caught a foul ball like right on top of the wall over there, and he made the play and he stayed in the game and came out and grounded out in his next at bat, I think. Um, but he's swinging the bat, and it looks like his bat speed's okay. I posted on our Twitter account at Daily White Sox on Twitter. I posted a clip of him swinging and losing his bat, and that bat came out of his hands at like 100 miles an hour. So the bat speed's there. To me, it looks like he's pretty much ready to go. I think he's just doing this rehab assignment as more of a formality and to get back into the habit of playing in baseball games again. He looks, pretty much like regular old Eloy. So I don't expect
Yeah.
him to be
Well,
there
I
that
mean,
long.
anytime you go under the knife, it's good to get a little taste somewhere before you make your way onto the major league roster. We saw what happened the year Adam Dunn went and had the same procedure, had his appendectomy, but Adam Dunn was like crying that he wanted to come out and play the day after he had the surgery, and then he was back like I think it was 5 days
Six
later,
days. 6 days.
and
Yeah.
was it 6 days?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, he was back probably way too soon because I mean the rest of the way after that, I think he only hit like in the 160s and did not look well. Even though everybody wants to bring up the fact that he hit a homer like his second or third game back, but overall
Whoopity
he was not.
doo.
Yeah, overall he was not very good. So a lot of people thought Aloy was going to be out longer than he has been, and some people are even questioning the fact that he's you know doing a rehab stint already right now. And I would have to say, yeah, it's been a few weeks, and he's also much younger than Adam Dunn was at the time. When I won't say much younger, but I think he was close to 6 years younger. Uh, so I just think that, like you say, he's chances are, he's one of these guys. He's young. He's going to heal quickly, and he's probably pretty close to being ready to come back right now if he could, if they would let him, I should say.
Yeah, if they let him. So I'm going to go ahead and read some quotes from Michael Kobeck here. James Fegan put out an article with some interesting quotes in it. Um, Michael Kopech says, "We know that we can win this division. Last year, we didn't live up to our potential. To say the least, we know the kind of team we are. With the stretch that we're about to finish off, I think we can put ourselves in a good position." And he goes on to say, "To have a manager that believes in what we believe in as a team, that believes in us the way that we believe in ourselves, it goes a long way." That is that's interesting. Um, when asked how the vibes are in the clubhouse, Andrew Vaughn says different vibes, better vibes. So, I mean, that pretty much says what we were thinking. And it also talks to Pedro Grifol as being that player's guy, that Salvador Perez loved in Kansas City. This is the kind of guy that the players are going to go to battle for, and I know that, we talked about this, that, maybe the results aren't going to show. And, Lance Lynn said the same thing, as much in his interview with AJ Przinsky, that, guys are learning a whole new way of doing things, and it's just going to take some time. And it's looking like maybe he wasn't just, making up things, that maybe, you are looking at a team that, is learning an entire new way of doing things, and it took time for it to finally start catching hold. And you could also say, well, it could also be that Yohan Moncada's back and he's been hitting, and that Tim Anderson's back and they don't have that void right there as well. And all important roster piece Hunter Alberto is back. You know, um, and the pitching's pitching, and the bullpen's not blowing leads. But I think that this kind of all ties into the same thing, and that is confidence in the team and having the idea that they can go out and win games and that they're not always going to be, you know, having their backs against the wall and having to hit a 5-run home run every time they go up to bat. I think there's definitely
Well,
something to be said for that.
having said what you just kind of ran down there, I want to kind of take you back to a few weeks ago when we criticized Lance Lynn for some of his comments. Uh, I think it was right after the 10-run inning game,
Yeah.
where he was asked, it was on the AJ Przinsky's Foul Territory
Yeah,
podcast, I
yeah.
believe.
Yeah, that's same thing.
He-
Same podcast.
yeah, yeah. So you remember what he said there? Remember some of the comments that he made about, we're learning a
Yeah,
new
so yeah, same
system,
thing. Yeah.
learning a new way of playing baseball, yada yada yada, and we kind of both agreed, like, well, it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here, but
Yeah.
do you think that these things are, maybe some of that is true?
That's what I'm saying. I think
Okay,
that that's
I just
probably what it is that, I think that it's more not necessarily the thought that they're learning a new way to do things, but just the thing that they're learning to play together, as you've got a bunch of different pieces on this team now, and it's just taken a little while to put it together. Um,
okay.
I mean,
I
we
just
saw,
wanted to, clarify, make sure that that's kind of where exactly what you were,
yeah, I
the
mean,
road you were going down there.
yeah, I mean, think about the Nationals. They got new manager, got a few new players, and then they went on a run. They started off terribly, and then they went on a run and they won the World Series. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what the White Sox are going to do, you know, because I'm not getting to that point yet, and it's not even June yet. But
Right.
the thing is that we were like, it's not even June yet, and the season's over. Like we were saying this 2 weeks ago. Like last
It looked
last
that
time,
way.
last time we talked, we were like, okay, well they look a little better, but I'm not gonna bite on winning two series and then going out and getting smoked, which is what happened. They
Right.
they got smoked by the Royals, but now on the other side of this, where they've strung some, they lost that Royals series, but they've strung some series wins together here, and they haven't gone on like a 10 out of 11 run yet, but they've done a pretty decent job of winning like 70%, 66% of their games, like 2/3 of their games, which in this division that might be enough to win it if they just play halfway decent baseball and win most of their series for like the foreseeable future. At least keep them
Right.
in the talk until the end of the season, and then if they can get hot and go into the playoffs hot, then maybe they've got something. Because we've seen that team that does that kind of thing. Where they come in as like the Phillies did. They come in like the Nationals did, where they had started off terribly. I mean, the Phillies, for crying out loud, they fired Joe Girardi and got a new manager and went and won the World Series. It's not 100% outside the realm of possibilities. And I know it sounds absolutely idiotic to say this, that we are in the same breath as those two teams, because what they did was, you know, actually, I guess the Phillies went to went. But I mean, you know what I'm saying, like,
I do. I do.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to get all crazy and say they're going to the World Series. Like I said, it's not even June yet, and they're still like what 9 games under 500 or what? Like,
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think they're what 21-30 now. So
yeah,
yeah, 9 games under 500. But that just goes back to our last time, on stream where we talked about this stretch of what was it, 13 games uh in the division. 13 straight games in the division, and we were saying, just winning series probably wasn't going to be enough. If they came out and they went, 8-5, it wasn't going to be enough. Right now, they're looking very capable of maybe coming out of those 13 games at like I don't know, a 10-3 clip, which I don't want to put any hex on that, you know what I mean? Everything I say seems to be opposite. So I'm just gonna go, I'm still gonna do it. They suck. You suck. I love you guys, but you suck. But and I'll do that with a little wink. But you know, they've just been playing fundamental baseball.
yep,
And if they continue to do that, I don't see why they can't win 10 out of 13 or 11 out of 13 and, start to make waves in what is known as the weakest division in baseball. Uh, you know, w- I talked about somebody, I talked about the trade deadline with somebody recently, and they were saying, oh, the Sox are definitely sellers. I said, well, it's, the middle of May. How can you say definitely?
yeah, exactly.
Because I guarantee you that if the Sox are within 5 games by the break, they're not going to have that there's no definite. They're going to have the conversations of both sides. Do we sell? Do we buy? Do we stand pat? But as of right now, there's no definite about them being sellers. You know, Y- eh, were they in a bad spot before this, nice little run they're on? Absolutely. Everybody was ready to write them off,
Mm-hmm.
but it only takes a run of like the one they're on now. And then, if they have a little minor slide, it only takes one or two of those runs to be right in the conversation because of the bad division they play in.
Yep.
And you and I and Logan Hart talked about this in our chat earlier today, where if they can, we've seen it a lot in the past, but if they can squeak into the playoffs and make the playoffs, it's possible that they could go on a run. We've seen many teams do it. We've seen how many wild card teams have we seen go deep into the playoffs, or even go as far as winning a World Series title. We've seen that a few times, in this during this century.
Yeah, I mean,
So I'm not saying I'm with you. I'm not saying that they're going to win a World Series, but if they win this division, which is still very possible,
mhm.
they are not so far out of it that they can't climb out of a what is it, a 5.5 game gap is last I looked. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, it's
But
something
five
like
and a
that.
half games out of first. Uh, you know, division is still in hand. They still have a very good chance of pulling it out somehow.
Yeah, I think the other day
So
they lost and they actually gained a half game.
they did.
That's
It
insane.
was that yesterday
Yeah,
or the
it's
day
either
before?
yesterday or the day before. So I mean, like the way I look at this is that I at no point this season have I looked at any of the teams in the AL Central and said the White Sox can't beat those guys and they can't beat them for first place in this division. There hasn't been one time that I've said that.
Right.
Not one of the teams in the AL Central has been even remotely decent this year. I mean, the Twins started off okay, but they weren't doing anything, that would say, "Oh, I don't think that the White Sox could catch them and take the division." At no point has that happened. So that's why I'm leaving the door open on this whole thing because there's no dominant team in this division. I mean, one of them could become the dominant team in the division. Whoever, I mean, I would hope that it would be the White Sox, but I mean, somebody could grab hold of the division and rattle it off. But I don't see why it couldn't be the White Sox because I've seen the other teams in this division, and they don't scare me.
No, and honestly, we'll do this on paper thing again that we hear thrown them out there a lot. But on paper, well, on paper, the expectations on paper from team to team in this division, I would think the White Sox have higher expectations of the people on their roster than most of the other teams in this division. Like you said, there are teams that are better record than the Sox right now, but don't necessarily have the best pitching around. The White Sox, unfortunately, just got off to a slow start this year, but they have a very solid pitching staff. Expectationally, if that's even a word. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm just throwing
Mm,
stuff out there now. But expectations wise, they should have the best staff in the Central. They should have one of the better staffs in the American League.
yeah, I mean,
But
I mean, seeing I mean Clevenger's a weak spot, and their rotational depth with Davis Martin going down with TJ, which is something that's happened since the last time we streamed. Um, their major league depth in the starting rotation is rough. If Jesse Schultens happens to get injured, or if Clevenger happens to get be gone for a while, maybe Jesse Schultens gets exposed, as a quad A pitcher or triple A. I mean, he's been good. Like he's
right,
both of the games he's pitched for the White Sox have been good starts. I mean, granted, the last one wasn't a start; it was a fill in, but. Yeah, see, as Grimtall says, Clevenger has been a weakness, but he's still a major league fifth starter at worst. And like the thing is that Clevenger's capable of going out and throwing 7 or 8 innings and giving up a run or two. He's completely capable of doing that, but he has to be completely on to be able to do that. And I think that's pretty much what a fifth starter is. He's going to give up, 4 or 5 runs in 6 innings, but he'll get you to your bullpen and to your other guys. If you manage to put up some runs on offense, if the bats are swinging and hitting something, then okay. And Lance Lynn is not going to have a 6 ERA or actually 7.5 ERA, I think, which is what he had, before his last 2 starts or whatever. Yeah, and I don't think Cease is going to do what he did for a couple of starts there, getting bombed out, and he's not striking anybody out. And I think that he's trying to get back to his, you know, get back into a spot where he feels comfortable again. I think he kind of got out of rhythm a little bit, and I think he needs to get back in that. And Kopech makes a
And he has looked better his past couple starts too.
yeah,
Yesterday was it was a fine start.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's looked better
Yeah, just not a ton of
for
strikeouts.
sure.
Not the normal Cease that we're used to seeing. Um, at least
He
over the
just seems
last
to be
year.
commanding his pitches a little bit better though,
Yeah,
and that's really kind of where he got off was his command wasn't quite uh where you expect it from Dylan Cease, especially being a top three Cy Young vote getter last year, and you know we can talk about that All Star snub all we want to last year, but he seemed to be lacking something coming out early in the season this year. What that something was, not really sure. It just his breaking pitches weren't moving exactly the same. His fastball didn't even look the same. Like there was just something that wasn't right there. And now I'm starting to see some things that remind me of 2022 Dylan Cease in his last couple of starts. And I think he's only a short time away from getting back to that guy again. And you mentioned a few weeks back that maybe this whole WBC thing in spring training and the breakup of players from teams during spring training may have kind of put some of these guys behind, and maybe the Sox have babied their starting roster a little bit, and that's looking more and more plausible every day. Not just the starting staff, but some of these regular position players as well seem to be kind of finding their footing a little bit better, and finding the strike zone and finding hard hit balls and just finding all the things that you want a winning baseball team to find. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe there was some truth in what we're throwing out there then, but it just seems
just
like
throwing
they're
darts,
waking
man.
up a little. They just seem to be waking up a little late
Yeah,
because they definitely seem like they've woken up lately.
yeah, yeah. And Grunthal mentions that Gio's been awesome. Gio has been. He's been really good, and Kopech, he makes a mechanical change, and I looked at all of his baseball savant metrics, but unfortunately, it only goes up until like I don't have the stats from his last start, so I can't particularly say. I don't think that the average velocity is up that much because he was at 96.6 average velocity in his couple of starts before the last two dominant ones. So I don't think that the velocity has gone up that much, and from what I can tell, the spin rates aren't any different. The horizontal and vertical movement is not really any different. I think more what the mechanical adjustment was is him making it more difficult for the hitters to see what's coming. I think that that's more what it is, and that they're not getting as good a look at the baseball and seeing where it's coming from as before. That's what I'm thinking. I would have to side by side the mechanics there, but I think he's hiding the ball a little bit better with his glove. Um, but hey, if he keeps on going out there and tossing one hitters, two hitters for
Hey, well, you do what you got to do, man. Whatever it is, just do
yeah, I
it.
mean unless it's steroids or you know uh, Vaseline ball, Vagisil balls, or whatever it was that dude was throwing in Major League. Um, Ladder Enjoyer also brings up a fun point. Uh, Last week, I think it was Friday or Saturday last week, maybe, that there was a tweet put out by Kamka that 162 straight games for the White Sox starting a right-handed pitcher. And he brings up Nate Fisher, who's been pitching for the Knights. And The he's had a couple of games where he looked pretty close to unhittable. He's got a really nasty breaking ball, and like the fastball's not overpowering or anything, um, to a ridiculous point. But he's generally pretty decent command, and he can, goes 5-6 innings, and limits damage. He's a left-hander, and the fact that we've got a little bit of rotational, might need a little bit of for a doubleheader or something like that. We might need a guy to come up. Granted, I mean, at that point, like I think Clevenger will probably be back and Schultens will probably be back with the Knights, but it's entirely possible at some point that they call him up and maybe they break that left-handed starter streak. But we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. You know, it's odd. I've talked about this again in the past, but it's odd to see a team that calls itself a contender and not have a lefty on the staff.
It's kind of bizarre.
It just it's strange to me because if you look at probably the last you could probably go back historically, honestly, throughout the history of baseball, the teams that go deep into the playoffs have at least one left-handed starter and a couple viable left-handed pitchers in the bullpen. The Sox, they got one or two guys in the bullpen, and Crochet will be back
He's back.
soon enough.
He's back.
You're right. He is back. I'm sorry.
Hendricks will be
I don't even
back
know why
soon.
I said Hendricks will be back. Crochet being back now. I'm just talking about the lefties, coming out and doing their thing. But it's just strange that there's not a left-handed starter anywhere to be found on this team.
Yeah, the only
You know,
guy
uh,
that
every
was a left-handed starter that has been around for a little while is Tanner Banks, and now they've got him in long relief in the pen. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, but he pitched 2 innings yesterday, struck out 6 guys. So
yeah,
that's cool. But I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
you got Bummer, and Bummer's pitching. He's looking like he's getting back to being locked in, which is nice. And then Crochet's back. So I mean, we got some stuff, and I mean, good night, Joe Kelly.
It's he's been on a tear. If
Ridiculous.
this is what healthy Joe Kelly is going to look like for the entire season, man, I'm all in for it, dude. I am so here for it. He's been damn near unhittable. I
Yeah.
think he's given up one hit in his last 9 innings.
Well, two now. I think he gave up like a triple or something 2 days ago. Yesterday. What day was that? I don't even remember. I think it was yesterday.
All right. Well, either way, 2 hits and
Regardless,
whatever it is,
yes,
10
he's
innings.
amazing. Yeah.
He's been and he's got like I think he's got like 11 or 12 strikeouts in that same time frame. It's insane. He's he really is. He looks almost untouchable too. I can't wait to see that pouty face come out when somebody chirps at him.
Yeah. I like that what's that? Kyle Tucker at bat versus the Astros, where he did like that triple leg pump. I was dying laughing when he did that. It was hilarious. Grimtall says extend him, and like everybody's been ready to trade him. So, they got
Launch him into
another
the sun.
year of they got a club option with him next year, I believe, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think you're right.
yeah. He says the
If he
more
continues
people,
to do what he's doing, they're going to extend that option, no doubt.
yeah. Letter Enjoyer says the more people chirp about him playing with timing, the more he wants to do it, and I'm into it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Joe Kelly. I mean, like he had the nerve damage in his arm last year, and they signed him anyway. And last year, everybody was, pissed about like the way he pitched in the first half, and I was like, the guy wasn't healthy. I know he said he wanted to get out there and pitch, but like in reality, you know, what's the difference between him throwing his innings in Arizona and rehabbing or pitching on the White Sox? Like in his mind, I'm sure, he'd rather do it in
Right.
Chicago. So he's like, yeah, I want to pitch right away. And they held him off until like mid-May last year, I think. and then he came back and he wasn't good for like the first 2 months of the season, and everybody was freaking out. But if you look at his numbers, his splits in between first half and second half, his second half, like his whip dropped by like point 0.3 in the second half of last season. So clearly he was on an upward arc, to get back to where he was, but he wasn't there at the beginning of the year last year. So I don't know why anybody was shocked, that he walked a bunch of guys and that, you know, it happens. So yeah. Oh yeah. Brian Ramos started his rehab in the minors yesterday, and I think he went 1 for 5 yesterday, and I believe he went 0 for 4 today, and he had a catcher's interference. Otherwise, he would have been 0 for 5 because he struck out in that at bat, but he hit the catcher's mitt. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but on defense he's looked pretty good. His range is pretty. Looks like he's back to being healthy. Just need to get him some at bats under his belt and get back to playing some baseball. So
Yeah. See, you bring up catcher's interference, and it just reminded me of something I saw on. I think it was yesterday, maybe even earlier today. I don't. It's I. You know what? The brain's going. It's just the memory is shot. But somebody had said something about getting rid of Grandal.
mhm,
Oh, he's Grandal. Grandal stinks. I'm going. What
yeah,
does he's hitting the ball. He's playing better than he has in a while. I can see people, desiring more defensively out of him because, he does tend to drop a ball here and there. He doesn't always get the best throw off to second base, although he's been cutting runners down pretty well. So, you can complain about the one or two that he doesn't. He's been cutting runners down at a pretty good clip this year. But my question, and I didn't throw it out there because, I don't want to get in these arguments on social media anymore. I'm tired of that.
yeah, fair
But
enough.
my question is if they get rid of Grandal, who is going to take his place?
It better not be
Seppi?
Sebi because if you looked at his
He's
numbers,
in like 170.
158.
I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah, he's got a
I'm
448
sorry.
OPS.
Yeah.
That's like what's his name? Carlos Perez or whatever, or whoever the guy who was hitting like 150, and he was just on the team as a defensive catcher. I'm trying. Maybe it was Maldonado with the Astros. I'm trying to remember who the heck it was, but I mean
Oh,
that's like defensive, 100% defensive replacement catcher numbers, and
yeah.
he's got 2 home runs, but he's only got 7 RBIs and he's only got 12 hits in 31 games this year. I mean, that's not going to cut it.
Adam Hackenberg getting a caller.
Oh yeah, Adam Hackenberg. I mean, you know, I think he's Hackenberg's got a way to go.
Yeah.
I think he's just starting to get pseudo comfortable at Double A, and the problem was that last year in High A with the dash, it's like his bat never got going. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but his his OPS last year with the dash was not very good, and I know that he'd be the first person to tell you that he wasn't happy with his numbers last year with the bat. Um, I think right now with the Barons he's only hitting like 220 or 230 or something like that. So he's a ways off. I mean, we still got Carlos Perez. Um, I would say that I'd rather have Carlos Perez for sure, and then I'd say probably my second choice would probably be Xavier Fernandez from the Barons. That guy's got a big, uh, you know, powerful bat. So that'd probably be my choices there in order. Obviously, I want Carlos Perez to get first crack at it though, because he's hitting like
Absolutely.
320 or something in AAA, and I have a I have a feeling that you give him some solid at bats up here that he'd be able to put up like a 275, 280, and he's got some pop in his bat
with
as
some
well.
power.
Yeah, he'll hit some
Yeah,
home runs. He'll hit some doubles.
yeah. I could see that. As a matter of fact, I think well, we were hoping for more time out of him when they expanded the rosters last season, and you know that's neither here nor there now. But it's a very good chance that that happens again this year
Mm-hmm.
when roster expansions happens. You might see a little bit of him uh in the the last month and a half of the season. So I'm all for it. I would love to see what he can do at the major league level. He's probably the next man up when time comes.
Yeah, I mean,
I
well,
don't think you're
if
going
they
to
can
see
hang
some of
on to
these,
him,
these aging catchers. Yeah, well, that's true. But as Yasmani Grandal aged, I don't think they're going to extend him another, 4-year deal.
it's definitely not going to be four. Grimtall brings up something that I do want to bring up, that the White Sox released Tyler Osick from the Barons, who he was playing first base, but he's also, he's a catcher as well. Yeah, last year's advanced A level batting champion got released by the White Sox. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that he was injured because he hadn't played for like 2 weeks, and he just tweeted out that 2 weeks ago he got let go by the White Sox. So um, now,
Wonder why that is. Doesn't it seem a little premature? Was there some dissension somewhere?
so my, I don't, I didn't ask him, but I know that he's rather outspoken about his talent and what he feels that he can do, and that might have played a part, possibly. But I mean, just in general, the Barons offensively this year have been not so good. I mean, they're starting. It's looking like they're starting to pick up a little bit. Jose Rodriguez has been hitting. He hit like 4 home runs or 5 home runs in the last week. Today he went 2 for 4. It looks like he's finally starting to swing it again. I posted I retweeted something from the Barons where they were saying like the player of the week or whatever for the Barons last week was Jose Rodriguez, and he went like 5 for 23 or something. And I was like,
Oof.
somebody said that's not good. I was like, well, yeah, but the Trash
No.
Panda's pitching's really good. And if you look at the Barons stats, the offensive stats from last week, he was the best performer. They hit nothing last week. And in fact, across the entire organization last week, in the minors, the Ballers played against the Mudcats, which is the Brewers' A ball team, which they've got some really good pitching and they got some really good hitting. And then the Dash played against the advanced A team for the Orioles with Jackson Holiday, who almost hit for the cycle 2 days in a row, missed it by a single one day, and then missed it by a homer the other day. And the day that he missed it by a homer, he hit 2 doubles and 2 triples and went 5 for 6. I mean, like the guys, that kid is playing out of his mind. Like, I hate it, but that kid's really, really good. He's really good. I mean, he looks like a little girl, but that kid can flat out hit. I think he missed. I think he swung and missed 10 times in 6 games, and I think he saw something like 92 pitches or something like that through 6 games. Like,
That's yeah, that's incredible.
yeah, kid's out of his mind. The Barons played the Trash Pandas, which is the Angels Double A team. Which their Double A team, they've got some pretty decent pitching on that team, and they got their hitting's meh, but and then the the Knights played against the Yankees AAA team, which has got Estevan Florial, which he hit I think he hit 5 home runs in 6 games against the Knights last week. They went 2-4. They lost the first 4 and were outscored 45-15 in the first 4 games.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not fun to watch last week. It's like if we're sitting here going off of our Twitter numbers of impressions on videos and stuff, like last week we it went kind of in the tubes a
Tanked.
little bit. Yeah, just because there was just not really a whole lot of positive things to talk about. I mean, there was some stuff to talk about that was good, but I mean, for the most part, last week was ugly, man. It's like the Dash hadn't lost a series all year, and then they went and play and they got smoked last week. They went 1-5 against the
Yeah,
the
I did
Ironbirds.
notice that.
Yeah, it was ugly.
That was kind of a little bit of an eye opener, because they were, I mean, they were rolling over pretty much everybody they faced up until that point. So, you know, it happens. It's baseball. How can you not be passionate about this game? I- it's it's something that we enjoy putting a lot of time in and a lot of thought into, but the entertainment that we get out of it sometimes comes at the cost of losing a few games. If you were watching a team that was going to go 162-0 and they were going to do that year after year, I know it's never going to. But I'm just using it as a point. We probably would lose interest in that too.
Yeah, probably.
It, you get to a point where you're like, it's almost too good. I don't have to watch. They're going to win today. I already know they're going to win.
Yeah,
You know, it gets old. But then again, as Sox fans, we want to see somebody
we don't
win
know anything
something.
about anything like that. Ladder Enjoyer brings up, and this is what I kind of want to close on tonight. Just some interesting factoid stuff going on across the
And I
league.
just want to apologize to the people who are watching us live or our YouTube followers who are going to watch the stream and video. But you guys see me keep looking down. One of my 3 dogs, my dementia doggy, is having one, so she's kind of
She what?
clingy. My dementia doggy,
Yeah. What about her?
she's uh, she's uh, she's having a bad day.
Ah.
The last 24 hours or so, she's clinging to my feet here and
Mm,
being goofy. So I apologize. It's not that I'm not paying attention or not trying to. It's just she's being a little needy at the moment.
yeah. All good, man. So, fun things around. Well, not fun things, but just like old friend alert type stuff. Um, Zach Birdie just got sent down again to AAA for the Rays. Yeah, the dog is more important than is better than sports, says Grimtall. Also, Adam Engel released by the Dad Rays. Um, so now he's. I mean, assuming. Did they outright release him? I didn't see if it was outright released or if they DFA'd him to AAA. That I did not pay attention to. But saying that he's on the move again, and he was, everybody saw him sign with the Padres and saw him playing for the Padres, and they're like, "Oh, here we go! He's gonna start playing great." Nope, hamstring injury. It's like just like freaking clockwork, man. Guy plays 10 games in the year and he's got a hamstring injury and he's out for 25 games and then he comes back and then
uh,
plays for a couple and then
it,
gets
it
DFA'd.
it leaves you yearning for what could have been with that guy because he did have he is honestly special defensively.
Mm.
Obviously anybody that's watched him play knows that. And when he was healthy, the bat seemed to work too a little bit.
Yeah, well, which
It,
with which swing though? I
well,
mean, the guy had 20 different swings while he was here.
he did, but I don't think that was a result of him. I coaching, trying to change him. And not that we haven't seen that from the White Sox before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just like I said, it just leaves me. It leaves me for the want of knowing. I just wish it could have been had he stayed healthy throughout his career.
I
You
mean,
know,
defensively, the guy was,
oh wizard.
except for when he killed that one game against the Orioles and started the White Sox on a complete downward spiral that ruined mental states of people. So I've been told. Um, you know, watching him, being the home run robber was a lot of fun for quite a while until it's just guy couldn't stay healthy. And if a guy can't stay healthy, your best ability is availability, and he struggles with availability, unfortunately. So, Ladder Enjoyer says it
Yeah,
was an outright release. He has service time to reject a triple A assignment anyway. And my thinking is that yeah, he has the service time to be able to refuse it, but I'd have if I was Adam Engel's agent, I don't know that I would be confident in telling him to refuse that assignment with faith that he's going to find another major league job.
yeah. You want to keep playing baseball?
Mm.
You should probably take that AAA assignment.
Yeah, I mean, unless, like somebody picks him up around the All Star break or whatever and signs him to a free agent deal and uses him as a defensive sub in the ninth inning. And even at that point, you'd still have to be worried that he's not going to fall apart on you down the stretch, you know?
Right, right.
So, also, what Grimtall has brought up as well, which was the fun one I was talking about, ex White Sox Dylan Covey pitched for the Dodgers last week. And I want to say that he went 5 innings and gave up 3 or 2 runs for the Dodgers. And then they designated him for assignment, and the Phillies grabbed him. And 3 innings, 3 innings, 2 runs. All right. And then with the Phillies picked him up, and he pitched for the Phillies yesterday, and pitched I don't remember exactly how many innings, but it was not a bad amount of runs given up and a significant chunk of the game gone. So it's nice to see that guy is getting some, getting another run in Major League Baseball. I mean, like that's a guy that I thought was gone forever. And here he is showing up in Major League Baseball again, just out of the blue. Like I had no idea he got called up to the Dodgers, and then he gets DFA'd and then he gets picked up by the Phillies. Yeah, and 12 pitching ninja clips. Yeah, the guy. I mean, the thing about Dylan Covey, he had really nasty stuff when he was good. The problem was is that the majority of the time he wasn't good, and he would blow up in the first or second inning. That was always the issue with him. Nobody didn't think that the talent was there or that the ability wasn't there. It's just consistency, and he never seemed to develop that consistency. So last thing here, did you happen to hear about this this college pitcher from Eastern Carolina that got booted out of the game that he wasn't even pitching in?
Oh no, I thought you were going to go a different direction with that, but I don't think I had heard this one.
Yeah. So apparently, one of his teammates hits a home run, and everybody's going out to home plate to congratulate him after hitting this home run. And he brought a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out and gave it to the guy who just hit the home run. And the umpire said that he was bringing a prop out to home plate, so he kicked him out. And so I think he actually got suspended as well. So there's your weird news for the week. Danny, gift and subs. Look at you. Thank you, sir. Oh, to Officer Doofy.
Shooting.
There you go.
All right, way to go.
Sweet.
Had to. It's been a while since have gifted. So here we go.
There
Trying
we
to throw
go.
that out there.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on a Wednesday, completely different day than everybody is used to. So thanks for popping in, guys. We appreciate that because to be honest, both me and him, like we've both had goofy schedules, and Danny had a bunch of medical stuff going on. So I mean, personally, I wasn't even sure anybody was going to even pop in tonight because it's a completely different thing. But thanks for coming in and hanging out. Um,
Yeah, much appreciated.
yeah, we enjoy you guys being in here. We enjoy the chats and everything, and we appreciate your patronage, I guess, your viewership, your time.
Sure.
We appreciate all that. Um, at Daily White Sox on Twitter, whitesoxdaily.substack.com for written stuff. That's kind of a joke at this point. We'll get something up
I was
at some
not
point.
gonna say nothing.
Um,
Oh
yeah,
Lord,
and there's gonna
if
be
I could just find half an hour every now and
that
again
you
to
would
write something
dedicate
down, I
to
will.
writing if you had that half an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, we have a
Right.
we have a YouTube page that you can search out Daily White Sox. This stream will be
Woo.
up on there. Other things end up on there as well, including like offline interviews and stuff like that. Um, there'll be a couple more of those coming up here in the near future. I got a couple of irons in the fire. So there'll be some stuff popping up on there, and I don't know, maybe we'll throw it in on one of these streams at some point, where we just throw it up in the middle of the stream, and I don't know, maybe I don't know, something to think about. Also, we're probably gonna
Tune in next week. Maybe I'll bring Ian a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
yeah, and then you'll get banned from Twitch. Bringing props. Let me think here. Yeah, we have a Facebook page as well. You can search for us on Facebook. Yeah, but I think we should go back to normalish time next week. Although, Wednesday's a nice day, nice chill day to do everything. But no, we'll work on that. Also, we got we're gonna start multi-streaming to different platforms as well. So there will be other places to watch us if you're so inclined. Probably gonna be on YouTube's stuff. I don't know. Maybe we'll do TikTok too. See what those TikTok kids do.
Hey. All right.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. But yeah. So I don't know. We'll have some interesting stuff to talk about next week because we'll kind of see like how this thing ends up. We got not ends up, but I guess this stretch of all AL Central opponents will be pseudo over for we get the Angels in the middle anyway. So there'll be at least a break before we get another AL Central opponent. So we'll have a little bit better idea of what's going on in the division, unless they go 2-2, and then it's just going to be a push. But we'll see what the Twins do because they've got that brutal schedule coming up with the Blue Jays and Astros and Rays. They have that same schedule that we had in April. So good luck to them. We'll enjoy watching them get their jaws punched loose, and it'll be fun. Especially now that they don't have, now that they're not going to have Correa for a couple of weeks. So,
No, and now that the Stros are, putting some
they're
things together over
strozing
there.
again.
Yeah, so good luck with that. The White Sox had their struggles. That first series of this season was like, hey,
hey, maybe we're gonna do something.
we split with the Astros.
Yeah,
and
then both teams were terrible for like, at least 3 weeks, and then they started pulling out of it, and we were still there for another 2 weeks. But
right, a little bit of a funk, but
yeah,
things are rolling.
Yeah, we're getting there, I hope. Anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out this week. Thanks for hanging in the chat. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If Abreu wants to wake up against the Twins, I won't be mad at it. Ladder Enjoyer, I am 100% with you. Although he does have a home run now, so there is that.
One.
Yeah. Hey, it's more than Benintendi's got, and they paid
The
$5
Twins
million
gonna
dollars
call up
more for
some.
that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Twins gonna call up some unranked shortstop prospect, and he'll win Rookie of the Year. I don't like you right now, Grimtall.
Um, I don't think so. I think the guy that they had that could have done, I think it was Royce Lewis, and he's just perpetually injured. And then they let they got rid of Brent Rooker, and now he's hitting tanks for the A's all over the place. So thanks for letting that one go. That was nice of you guys. We appreciate that. Yeah, so we'll catch you guys next week. And my name is Ian Eskridge for my co-host, the Danny Miller. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.